And welcome to this week's Pastor Capture. I am Pastor Tammy Palermo, and we have Pastor Steve Stoltz-Costello and Pastor Ivy Smith. And we're here to recap what happened last Sunday, January 21st. Yes. I have to say, your comeback, Ivy, in modern worship was iconic.
Yes.
And if anybody missed it, I highly recommend checking it out. It was...
I'm back in modern.
It's worth seeing the whole service, but yeah, definitely you want to check that out. It was very iconic. Very iconic.
Cool.
Yes.
We had Recognizing Dissonance. We're on our second week in our Justice or Just Us. And I loved, Pastor Ivy, how it was interesting. You referenced the Good Samaritan again, and I did too. And we didn't even talk about us doing that.
Right. I saw a lot of similarities in our message. I was going to say, and you talked about Moses, which was one thing I was trying to highlight. Is like the only bit of actual bondage type slavery that we know.
Right.
When we're saying slaves be free,
yes.
Which Paul is telling us that we're all slaves.
Right.
You know, that there's one master, but yeah, because we don't really have a reference of biblical slavery. You went to Moses, I went to Moses, and it's like until, Paul comes along.
Yeah.
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 I have to say, as a liberation theologian that I profess to be, I totally appreciated how you really broke that down for us to understand that in the United States, our interpretation of what slavery means takes us to enslaved African Americans.
It's totally skewed.
It's totally skewed. And
we have no other reference.
Yep. And I think that that's so important because then you pointed out how we really need to be a slave to our master, and our master is God. And I really, really appreciated that.
Yeah. And it's just such a small part of the text, that we only get a little bit of that of, our commitment. We don't want to be submissive to, I said even in my sermon, we don't even want to be submissive to our wives and and husbands and spouses and marriages, friendships. Someone always has to be dominant. Someone always has to be subservient as opposed to all of us, guiding.
Yeah, and yet. We know there's a different way. I loved that, with all of that, then you brought out that, with Christ, we can be, the chains can be broken, we can be set free. And,
oh my gosh.
And then at the end there, inviting people to say, what is it that, I'm paraphrasing from my own, what I took away, but, what is it that you need to be free from? What is it that you need to offer up to Christ? And then, that song you sang, I'd not heard that, but Breaking the Chains.
Oh, Break Every Chain? Yeah, that's one of those, what I call vacuum songs, where you just kind of keep singing it over and over. I liked how you brought out about Moses in there, which I didn't say, but that part of what Moses was called to do and what we're saying as far as justice is, it goes beyond what we were doing. That's kind of, I think, why we started with the Good Samaritan. It goes beyond Moses being called not just to feed the hungry and not just to talk to people and not just to preach, but you said to confront. That now he has to confront this issue and go to Pharaoh. I like that. Because we do so much here as a church, and it's like we have to take that next step. Yeah.
Good stuff. We had the baptism of Isabel Zelenkowski at the 11 o'clock service, and it was always great to remember our baptisms. And you say right there in the baptismal vows to resist evil, injustice, in whatever forms they present. So anyway, a lot of good stuff there. How about Sunday school?
Sunday school was great. We had a great turnout at 9, and the kids learned about the Sermon on the Mount and how Jesus told us that we need to love everyone. So it was really, really awesome. Good stuff there.
Say record attendance?
I don't know about record, but it was a good, 9 o'clock was really well attended. So yeah, it was exciting. A lot of energy in the room for sure.
Of course, of course.
It's very, very encouraging, especially with the weather being as cold as it was and the snow that was still, lingering there and all.
For sure.
We're also very, very excited that Sunday night we had our first youth mixer. We had 51.
51 folks came out.
51.
That's adults and youth and some siblings that were present. It was a great time.
Go Bryant.
Yeah, it was very, very well done. Good times.
But looking ahead, this Sunday, our third Sunday in Justice or Just Us, and we're focusing on biblical justice.
From Matthew, Philippians, and Micah are our text coming forward.
Yeah, and we just decided this morning that Matthew passage is the one where Jesus tells a story of the landowner who keeps coming back and hiring more laborers, and at the end of the day pays them all the same. And I want to invite you to imagine if you were the one that only worked an hour and you got paid a full day's wage, how would you feel?
Lucky.
If you were the one that worked 12 hours and got paid the same.
I'd probably be mad. That's
we'd be
reality.
upset.
We'd be upset. Yeah.
So it's going to be a neat thing to explore. What is biblical justice and what does God mean? We think of justice as fairness. Everybody gets the same.
See, one of the things that I always said about with being a mom is I would always tell my kids, fair does not mean equal, and equal does not mean fair. And I've told the moms that, and some of them really, they're like, I like that.
Yeah. So.
And then in Sunday school, we're going to talk about the mustard seed and the yeast parable. So that'll be fun. It looks like there's some fun activities for the kiddos to do.
Very, very good. I want to invite you to consider some of these questions about justice and fairness. What is fairness to you? Last week, we invited you to put something in comments, and we had Nancy put a comment in there and respond. That was awesome. And, that's an invitation to, I appreciated Nancy's care, and how she wrote that. So, we don't want to, we want to be very respectful of people's viewpoints and things like that, but I thought that was well done.
And it's important that we have dialogue about these topics. That's what's going to help us grow as human beings.
Help us share.
Yeah.
Grow in our faith journey, communicating with one another, and most importantly, being in relationship.
Good stuff.
So we'd like to make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And you can join us this Sunday at 9 or 11. Both of those hours, we have modern and traditional happening and Sunday school happening. If you prefer to worship at home, you can catch the 9 o'clock modern or the 11 o'clock traditional. And we just always love having you join us in any shape, way, form that you can. We just want to be sure that you are experiencing the love of Christ every day. Every day. So thanks for joining us on this week's Pastor Capture.
There is power in the name of Jesus. There is power in the name of Jesus to break every chain, break every chain, break every chain.